I'm Special Agent Emily Ackerman, and I am with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University Worldwide. Some background on me is that I used to teach high school English for about 5 years, and then I was lucky enough to move to Embry-Riddle, where I'm an e-learning support specialist. And what I do there is course design, as well as I'm a Canvas admin, and I help with IT support issues. So I kind of do everything, just like when I was a teacher.
And my name is Special Agent Jamie Sipe with the ERAU sector. I'm also at Embry-Riddle. I was an e-learning support specialist for a few years, and I recently transitioned to an academic technology trainer. And there I use Canvas to train faculty with mainly our Eagle Vision is what we call it, so it's our web conferencing tool. Prior to that, I was an elementary school teacher. And just a little bit about Embry-Riddle. You probably have heard about Embry-Riddle, main campus being on Daytona Beach. And we're actually with Worldwide, and we are located in Daytona Beach at Worldwide headquarters, but we serve faculty, students all around the world. So it's not just in Daytona, and then we also have a main campus in Prescott, Arizona. Okay, so if you're anything like me or Austin Powers, and you like to comment online, nestled behind your computer at home, you're gonna like this next activity. So if you could, please go to pollev.com/ERAU or text ERAU to 37607. So I'll give you a second just to pull that up, joining our poll everywhere. So gotcha. Okay, give you a few more seconds, texting ERAU to 37607. Okay, and our next page will have it as well. It's up at the top.
Still
Okay,
there.
so I would like you to consider, and if we could stick to one word, that would be really great. But I would like you to consider what you like about discussions. I know it's a little small there, but maybe a one word, maybe two. Just anything you'd like about them, either as a student perspective, instructor perspective, just any opinions you may have. Okay, we'll go there.
You know, yeah.
There we go. So we're gonna flip it. This is how we responded. Let's see.
Useless.
A little bit of both.
I like it. Useless.
Let's go ahead and continue with dislike.
Yeah.
Since that's the one that's on here.
So are we talking about what you dislike?
Yes,
Right.
please. Yeah. Yeah, one word. Anything. It could be a tool that you maybe like, or maybe an aspect of it, like building community. So like some of them that are coming up, interaction, grading, engagement.
Busy work.
And see, I know that some of them are disliked on there or some are liked, but that's okay because we're going to talk about both.
Yes.
So we have asynchronous, disconnected, repetitive, long. Look at this grading, and I'm going to go ahead and assume that that's
Boring.
the dislike.
Boring's getting really big. So is tedious and repetitive. All right.
Okay, and now I'm just going to stick with the same word bubble. Go ahead if you haven't. Which one you did not submit, go ahead. So like or dislike. So if you already submitted, go ahead. You can just wait it out for us, and then we'll just get everything on there. So just a few of the bigger ones: grading, time, tedious, engagement. So it's just a mix, and I kind of assumed these would be the words we would get for both like and dislike. Okay. Yeah. That's okay. We'll just move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll bring it back to the PowerPoint. I appreciate all your responses there and your patience with us. Okay, so we'll bring it back, and we'll move on to the clicker. Okay. Okay, so I know it comes to no surprise to you that the dislike was the one you probably was a little easier to post or to think about. A word probably came into mind, like the grading. It can be cumbersome. So we want to focus on the benefits of online discussions. So I do want to take into consideration some of the negative aspects of it so that we can kind of work towards moving away from that. Maybe considering some things we can use in Canvas discussions to make discussions more engaging and less time consuming. So you've heard students say maybe, I just post just to get the minimum requirement, because I have to. I'll go on there and I'll submit my initial response, I'll submit my 2 replies, that's mandatory, and then I'm out of there. And these students are like in witness protection or something. We don't ever see them again. So how do we get them back in? So let's focus on some of just the overview. This is nothing necessarily new, although we did throw some top secret spy lingo, right? But this is just basic knowledge of online discussions, building camaraderie. So discussions can sometimes be the only time that students can collaborate together, get to know each other. Well thought out and researched. I know as a student when I was in a face-to-face class, I would kind of shy away from participating in the discussion because I was afraid of, I don't know, being wrong or being ridiculed. So I did not really participate in a face-to-face setting, but once I went to online, it allowed me the time to consider my response and craft it out. And then we also have, you can thoroughly investigate. So this is great if you want some of that research, citing sources. And get a little bit more in depth with their responses so they aren't so empty. And then thinking and writing skills are really fine-tuned here. So a lot of the rubrics we have will have a criteria for grammar. So you can kind of hit it at all angles, the content, analysis, grammar. Okay.
All right, so when we're thinking about discussions, we want to think about where we've been. And when I was in school, it was like this. We sat and we listened, or spaced out at least quietly, and the teacher spoke, and things were supposed to be engaging, but now school is different, and most of it's online. And now we're kind of missing that personal interaction component. Where we are now, we have online discussions, but it's not going so hot, all right? Lots of students, when you ask them about discussion boards, they say, it's busy work. They're really good about writing sentences that mean nothing. I think it's a special talent they have. So what we're working on is trying to figure out, okay, where do we fill in this gap? How do we get discussion boards to be more than just going through the motions? Where are we going? Well, in one sense, we're going to video. A great tool to use is the webcam. And you should have some kind of video integration with Canvas. And you or the students, if you're an instructor or if you're a student, you can do a video introduction, but you could also post to the discussion board with a video. I've had an instructor who's let us just do our discussion posts as videos. My instructor also used to do his announcements with video, and I really liked that. I gotta say, when I got a big chunk of text with an announcement, I was like, let me skim through this. When I got a video, I watched it. It felt personal. It felt like it was made for me as a student. Next, audio. I love audio feedback. There's just something about hearing somebody's inflection and letting them know that you care about what they said. And I enjoy a personalized PowerPoint presentation. So when I do my classes, and I'm introducing myself, I create a PowerPoint that has pictures of me and my family and my interests, and then I screen record it, put it into a little video, and I upload it to the introduction site. I will tell you, I'm usually the only student that does that, and everyone always posts on it, is like, wow, that's so cool, what did you make it in? PowerPoint. It was easy.
Okay, so we'll start kind of basic and move to maybe more advanced external tools. We'll start with the basics though here with settings. So when you create a discussion board or when you go to edit it, you have this discussion settings page. So we're just gonna go through 3 of these: the allow threaded replies, the users must post before seeing the replies, and the allow liking feature. So first we'll talk about the allowing threaded replies. Excuse me. So we'll have focused discussions and threaded discussions. So the one to the right is allowing the threaded supplies, allowing the threaded replies. So the 2 differences here I'll point out with my little red squares there. So what is the difference? When do I use one or the other? So your focused discussion is going to be really just that one question, and you want just replies from the users. You don't really want the conversation to go anywhere. There's only 2 different times that you can reply, replying to the initial post and then replying to maybe one response. So it allows for limited nesting. Oh, sorry. The threaded discussions, though, have infinite nesting. So this could be a useful setting to enable. so that if you want the discussion to maybe go several different places, so multiple responses, multiple conversations even. So just consider that when creating your discussion posts, and it might be more helpful, or you might find you get more discussion out of them if you use the threaded discussion when appropriate.
Another nifty spy trick I enjoy is when you set the discussion settings to be so that the user can only post, so the user must post before seeing replies. And as a student, this has happened to me, and it always makes me think a little bit more about what I'm gonna write. Because I can't just go to somebody else's post and see, well, what did they write about this topic? Okay, so you get more original work and less espionage. The kids were gonna wanna spy on the discussion post, but they can't, just like that cat. They have to come up with their own answers. Here's another thing they can do. Social media is really big right now. Another way to get them to interact is to allow liking. Students like to interact with each other, and something as simple as a like can let other students know that, hey, people are, agreeing with what I'm saying. And the instructor can order the likes by the most amount of likes that were posted that week. So they can see, well, what students' posts resonated with the class the most? What content was really striking a chord? And now we're on to the rich content editor. So there's some basic things you can do with the rich content editor, and then there's some more advanced tricks we can do with the rich content editor. So somebody raise their hand and tell me, when you see this chunk of text, how does it make you feel? Yes? Bored. Me too. Anybody else? Any other feelings? Yes? Annoyed. Yes.
TLDR.
Totally TLDR. This is impossible to decode. I just see this and I'm like, I can't. So we're gonna go over some basic formatting that you can do with the rich content editor to break up those large chunks of text. And this is something that the instructor can do, but the students can do as well. So just gonna kind of go section by section, starting with bolding and underlining. There's a list of instructions, but instead of it all being chunked together, it's bulleted. And then bolded the key words for students to focus in on. And then we have formatting, having directions with headings and then a visual to help illustrate what they're talking about. Images, raise your hand if you're a visual learner. I like a picture, okay? So embedding visuals, embedding videos, just to illustrate your point. Yes?
Can we go back to the typographical emphasis underline?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my pet peeve because underline is a carryover from typewriting.
Mm-hmm.
We had limited ways to access. Underlining in this environment isn't conducive because it makes people think that there's a link. And so really, underlining should be avoided in an online environment and not wanted to emphasize so much because it can confuse you in this environment and people think it's clickable.
Sometimes, but usually if it's hyperlinked, it's blue. So that's, as long as you stick with the black font, should be okay, but that's something to keep in mind for sure. All right, last one, links and websites. So this is a good tool for reference points for your students, but also you can link them to other pages in the course. So if there's a certain resource you want them accessing over and over again in their Canvas course, link them to pages in the course.
All right, who has the intel on HTML? Huh? Well, a few of us. We don't have to be an HTML expert. I know what you guys are thinking. Right, yeah, HTML. And now it's time for a spy level hack. So for HTML editor, we're just gonna give you an easy trick here. So I know some of us, maybe back in the AOL days, we were writing HTML then because we changed the background on our profile page, right? You remember that? We did the colors. We knew HTML. So on the rich content editor, you'll have that HTML editor that you can click, and it'll switch over to that empty, scary box, right? But if you have content in it, it'll switch it over, and there'll be a bunch of symbols and all your content. And so this little trick here with the brackets, HR, it's that /, that's going to create line breaks for you. And so it will look like this, and it's probably a little difficult to see up on that screen because it's really light, but it does break up some of the text. So if you have a lot of content, which we might have in our discussions, maybe we have an assignment for them to a block of information for them to read. We have maybe instructions on what we want them to post. Maybe we have requirements listed in there to remind them. So breaking up the text will allow the students to just focus on one thing at a time.
So I wanted to make a student example to show you what it looks like when a student uses the rich content editor to organize a class introduction. So at the top, you have my name, and then that I'm a sloth enthusiast, and I've hyperlinked it just in case, somebody doesn't know what a sloth looks like. And then I'm a graduate student, and then I have a picture of me and my pet sloth, Slothy. And I think a picture really, puts a face to a name, kind of helps you get to know somebody. And then I have headings with a bulleted list of things that might need to, be said about me in my introduction.
So now we'll move on to some other tools to use. And the first we'll talk about is Canvas's tool, and we'll circle it right there. Canvas's tool in the rich content editor for recording or uploading media. So you can, in that second little box there with my face in the screen, it shows what pops up, and then you have two options. So right now selected is the video, but you can also click on the one underneath and just do audio. And you can also, in the tab right next to it, upload media. You can upload a video that maybe you created with another tool. And a good spy always checks their surroundings before recording. So you can add videos to the initial post or the initial prompt, or reply to others with either audio or video. And this just allows you to personalize the online interaction, which we've already said. It also allows instructors to author original content, which is important because if we're teaching all online courses, some schools might have a little bit more restriction and use templates. But this is a way for instructors to add in and give their content experience and give it a little bit more personal touch. So a few others, so this is kind of outside. We first talked about Canvas's, the previous slide. Canvas's upload or record media, that's in the rich content editor, but there are several tools to use to either edit video, record audio, etc. So webcams usually have a recording software piece to it. There's CaptureSpace, which is a Kaltura, and that's a third-party vendor, so your institution may or may not have that. But we do have CaptureSpace at Embry-Riddle, and it's pretty simple, one-time download, and then it's easy to do that, and then it just links right up to it. There's a few free resources, Jing being one of them, Screencast-O-Matic, and then ones that may be already on your computer, PowerPoint, iMovie, Final Cut, GarageBand. Camtasia is a paid software, which is a really excellent editing tool for video. And then we also have Snagit, which is a paid-for snipping tool, which has a lot of editable capabilities. So moving on to external tools. So depending on your university and your instance in Canvas, this may look a little different. So at our school, we have a drop-down for external tools. Yours might be embedded within the content editor for links right out to it. So we're going to go through a few that we use, that we find maybe you may not use because either fear, maybe just not knowing that it's there, etc. So the first we'll talk about is Twitter. So these are just kind of the instructions on how to embed Twitter into your discussion. So you can first add, first we'll click on Twitter, and then the box will come up where you can add either a hashtag or a name. So maybe there's something content specific out there in Twitterverse, that maybe it would be useful for students. So you would select, put the hashtag or username, and then select the number of tweets to show, and then preview and embed. And this will, there's an image of it, we'll embed it right in the discussion page. So fun thing about this, every time you come back to it, it refreshes. So you'll have the latest tweets. And it can link to any Twitter feed. So if there's any Twitter feed out there that's content related to your course, to your content, you can embed it right there. And then this is just to show the hashtag. So I did hashtag InstCon. You can embed a hashtag transmission via Twitter. And then now it's time for another spy level hack. So I made a PowerPoint using PowerPoint Online, and I clicked file and then share, and then we click embed, and this is gonna bring up this page. So this is pretty cool, it's still HTML, but it's not scary, it's just copy and pasting. It'll show you what your PowerPoint is and what it will look like when you pull it into the discussion. So you have the review my PowerPoint, that's the one I made, and then you can select the dimension, the size that you wish to have it. And then you can just copy that HTML right there. Then we go back to the rich content editor. Yes, question?
There's a similar function on Google Slides, right? I'm curious with PowerPoint, I just don't know. On the Google Slides functionality, every time you update your slide, it will automatically update your in Canvas. You make it shiny, you change Google Drive, it makes it in your Canvas course, and it keeps that connection.
Yeah, that.
PowerPoint do that?
You know what? I don't know, but I would think it would because I did save it, make it online. It sounds like because it was made online, it could update as you update it. But that's a spy level hack for sure. Thank you. Yes. Yes. It does not in PowerPoint. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we go to that HTML editor, and then we paste what we copied, right, into the HTML box, and then it will show here. So this could be helpful, just some ideas that I was thinking of. If maybe you wanted to post maybe a bad example of a PowerPoint, post that in the discussions. Have students comment what we could improve with this PowerPoint. Have students give feedback. Maybe post a good PowerPoint. What's good about this PowerPoint? Maybe students need peer review with their PowerPoints. And the reason why this would be useful is because now you don't have to download all these PowerPoints to view them, right? Especially if students need to see them. If students want to give peer reviews, they can just go in here and just click slide to slide. So it could be helpful just depending on the lesson or what you want or what you intend to use it for.
All right, so another external tool that you can use, and again, this is all based on your school and what you guys subscribe to through your Canvas account. But another one is Vimeo. So you go ahead and go to the drop-down and select Vimeo, and you can go ahead and search the video that is related to the topic that you're studying at the time. And we searched for Instructure and got Get to Know Canvas, but you would get a whole list of items. So you'd want to pick the one that's best for your content. And then you select the video. All you do, search, embed, post. That simple. It's just another source to pull in from, and it's right there in the rich content editor. YouTube, same process. Gotta love YouTube. Go ahead and search for Instructure or any other topic, and pick the one that best suits your needs. YouTube, search, embed, and then post. Lastly, Quizlet. Quizlet is a flashcard website, and it's where students can make different flashcard games with different terms and definitions. And in this case, I wanted to brush up on my spy term lingo, so I went ahead and searched for that, and I found some cards on espionage. And when you click the right-hand corner, it'll show the term that goes with the definition. And this is another one where it's just as easy as searching, embed, and posting. What's nice about Quizlet is that your students could make a whole Quizlet that's their own, based on their own terms and definitions. Then they can search it through this external tool, find theirs, and post it. Or they could just find one online and use it as a study tool to share with other students.
And now for $1 million, if you could either use your QR reader on your phone or go to that bit.ly / and I think it is case sensitive if you're typing that out. So we'll leave that up there. It's going to bring you to a Padlet. And in that Padlet, I would like you to add either something you learned today you may want to use in the future, you may want to implement in your course right now, or give us your spy level hacks. So this is going to be shared amongst all of us, and you'll have access to it. It's public. And even any questions that you may have about maybe using some external tool that maybe we didn't mention, and maybe someone else, because that is really what it's all about. Canvas community, they're really big on that, right? And we find so many answers to our questions through others. So I'll give a few more seconds for that, and I'll go ahead and display it up here. Okay, I think everyone might be there.
I think so. I hope so. Raise your hand if you're a teacher, instructor. Same thing, right? Okay, most of us.
Okay, I need to pull up.
So if you have a good spy level hack, don't hold out. Teachers steal. That's how we get better.
Here we go. Oh, there we go, cool. So let's just take a look. Those responses are coming in. Video post, fast ways to grade discussions. Let's see. Rich content editor. Using YouTube for video conferencing. These are all really great ideas. Good, good. Oh, so there's more.
Love
more
using the
details.
embed video, okay? Using nice.
Okay, we'll just give a few more seconds for that.
Spy level hacks. TED Talks. Yes, TED Talks are great.
Oh, that is a good spy level hack there.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thank you for all your responses. We'll go ahead and hide that quickly here. Let's get us back to our presentation. Okay, so if you have any questions now, I guess would be a good time.
Questions
Raise your
or suggestions for spy level
Yep,
hacks?
absolutely. Go ahead, I'll just repeat the question. Go ahead.
Just a question on using the video that's embedded in Canvas. We're really excited about that, but I'm concerned about accessibility issues and that can they be captioned? Can you upload your own transcript to it? Is there any way to make it an accessible video?
I'm not sure with the Canvas discussion tool itself, although I do know what comes to mind is Kaltura because we do have closed captioning with that. That was our other external tool, video tool to embed. If anyone has experience with that and is willing to answer for that, I'm not certain. I want to say no because it was really limited. It was just the video and posting, but I'm really not sure. Good question. The question was, and I'm sorry I didn't repeat it, but having accessibility, any issues with accessibility, and closed caption came to mind for the videos with Canvas. Yes, question?
We asked that same question to our Canvas success manager, and she said that they don't have that now, but they're looking into it.
Okay,
As far as being able to caption uploads like that.
okay.
The other problem we had with accessibility was the screen readers. If you have a thread that you use all semester, it takes them hours to get through it because they don't have headers that they can skip to. So they end up having to ask the instructor for a different assignment if the assignment was to post, another post on that. So we also talked to our success engineers that they have something they're working on as well.
It's something they're working on with accessibility with that. Okay. Okay.
See, hand back there? Yeah?
I feel like in the keynote this afternoon, Mitch Benson mentioned automatic closed captioning. What was that?
Well,
It's for ARC.
ARC, yeah.
That was the closed captioning for, it was mentioned in the keynote, and it was for ARC. Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So in terms of discussions, one of the things that I found to increase the richness of the discussion, instead of posing a question, pose a controversial statement instead of a question. Because that way, when you pose a statement, you force students to pick sides and give the backup for their reasoning, and it increases the richness of the discussion. If you post a question, you get an answer, and you get 25 of those. But,
Yeah.
so
Right, I absolutely agree. I know we talked about this because when we were planning for it, that is something, there is a way to craft a good discussion post. And her statement or comment was about adding something that wasn't just maybe a yes or no answer, it was something maybe controversial, something they want to talk about. And we did discuss that, but we wanted to really focus on the tools and how to add to it and how to encourage instructors and students to use the tool to add to the discussion. But I completely agree there is a way to really craft a good discussion question. Yes. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'll remember you. Okay.
Just curious, kind of leading on from that, part of having a really engaging discussion is how an instructor actually moderates and manages that. In your university, how do you support faculty to learn about how to do that? Because it's not a skill that everyone has.
Well, I know we can speak to our roles. We do encourage faculty. We were both e-learning support, and so we would receive a lot of calls, and we really are there to help guide them along with the tools. As far as encouraging them, I think that would be more along the lines of like the online faculty department encouraging them. And I think that there is a lot of support there. We have what's called quality managers, and they are in the courses, and they are ensuring that instructors are engaged in either discussions or anything else, any other aspect in the course. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
As a teacher, somebody who's taught, I would say getting good at discussion takes time. It takes practice, and it's about providing them with resources, anything you think would help them kind of hone that skill of discussion. Because usually, Socratic method, you know, we ask them a question and they say something, and the idea is just to keep asking them, help them arrive to a conclusion, do their own thinking. So if you have also an online department that helps with the development of teachers, or if you have the ability to hold a workshop to focus on how do you hold a discussion, because it is really hard. It's really difficult. It's something to be practiced.
And just to add on to that, I know we're in the works of a teacher toolkit to have kind of a resource for instructors, like technical resources, even outside of Canvas, to add to it. So I think it's just really getting the resources together, getting it out to them either by newsletter or even training if it was more, if you want to be more in depth with them. Okay.
I know she had a question.
Hi, and this is just a best practice probably question. I have instructors that our last system, you could put the due date and then your post date, and now we don't have that. It's not in Canvas, and so I have some instructors. What do you find the best practice if you want post and then replies?
Just to clarify your question, you wanted a due date for the discussion, so like the end of the module, but you want a post date for their initial post.
Right, so they're going to post and then they're going to reply, but you can only really put one due date. So what is your best practice?
I know that, and I've used this before, and I'm an adjunct faculty with Embry-Riddle, and I've used this before because you do want to encourage those students to post not everything the last day, right? That's what they tend to do sometimes. But we want to encourage them to post, and so we want to give them a deadline. You need to post by the 4th day within that 7-day module. And that would be a Canvas, I think, technical question for Canvas to see if they were able to change that. But I know that I just moved the due date up. So if the due date was that 7th day, I would move it to the 4th day. And I would let them know that your initial post has to be due this day. You have all week to reply to students, to each other. Yes?
Another way to do that is to add an event to your calendar. That's the other way that I've done it too.
I'm sorry, what was the other way?
Add a reminder to the calendar.
Add a reminder event to the calendar to encourage students to post early. Good comment. Yes? Yeah.
I do it a little bit differently, only because if you add an event, it doesn't carry over to the copy of this content to the semester. So instead of adding an event, I actually added an ungraded assignment, so it gives the due date and then it stays as the course or the course, master course, so that you can copy it over.
Okay, so rather than using the event because it doesn't copy over, she uses an ungraded assignment as a reminder.
I'll go over the mic.
Yes, great. Emily's gonna come
in.
over with the mic here.
Coming with the mic. Gonna make it a little easier. Coming to you. Okay. All right.
I maybe heard her question differently because it's a problem that I have. So I assign the discussion and say they have till Thursday to post their response and then by Sunday to answer someone else's response. So I have to set the due date for Sunday. But that's the problem. It's not that they need a reminder or they're going to do it late. It's that they need to have 2 different deadlines, and they don't seem to have the ability to do that unless someone else knows how to do that, which would be awesome.
Right. Are you raising your hand to comment, add to it? Yeah.
I set a due date for when their initial post is due, and then you have an until date, and you can leave it open until that date. And then I just write it into the rubric. I mean, they get more points if they post by the due date, and then their replies during, up until the until date.
Good to have a due date and then an open until date. That's a great idea. And I'm curious, though, because I see definitely a need for that here in this audience. If the Canvas, if there maybe is a request out there in the Canvas community about this tool, it's just sitting there. What's going on with it? Do you know status? Okay. Well, hopefully we can vote on it, and then usually we see it come to fruition. Go ahead.
All right, we got a question.
So you mentioned initial post and then students can reply various ways. If they reply using the videos, how do you grade that versus a typical word count? Do you say you have to be 2-3 minutes long, or what do you do there? Or
That's
is
a
that
good
even-
question. Go ahead.
Sorry. I think content is king. I always felt that way. Students would always ask me, well, how many sentences should I write? Whatever, how many sentences it takes. I had ninth graders, so that was a sticky conversation. But I think content is key. You could always say 2 minutes. I need a 2-minute video, and a 2-minute video could be long if nothing's being said. I think 2 minutes is plenty, and as long as they're hitting the points that you have on the rubric, I say it's good.
Yeah, we have videos. I teach a computers and applications course, and we do have a few discussion posts where we make them. It's a requirement to do video response, introduction being one of them. Of course, that's ungraded. But we also have another one where they reply, and there isn't necessarily, I don't give them a time limit. Of course, I didn't build the course. It is a template. But I think you can tell. And in their criteria in the rubric, it's not necessarily a word count for my situation. It's content analysis, and you can kind of, exceeds expectations, kind of imagine that. And you kind of get a sense if they really did give you a well-crafted response. But good question. Okay, we've got about 4 or 5 more minutes.
I just wanted to respond to the last question because I find that the more I specify word counts, sentences, the quality goes down. And so the more open-ended I make it and put the emphasis on the rubric and force the students to focus on hitting the standards in the rubric and not jumping through the hoops and doing the least amount they have to do.
Right.
As soon as they start asking me those questions about numbers of sentences, I just direct them back to the rubric.
Right, and you make a really good point. Thank you. Any other questions?
Oh.
She's on
See
her
a
way.
hand. See a hand.
Hi, I was at a Canvancements session earlier. I think that's what they're called, right? And I'm wondering if there's any on discussion boards that, are you guys familiar with that? They're basically hacks that people have built for a Canvas. Do you know if there's any discussion board ones in there? Because they tell you exactly what to put in where, and it does wonderful things, but they didn't talk about any for. They had all kinds of cool ones, but they didn't mention discussions.
Sorry, I am not familiar.
Are there for discussions?
I think. Did you have something to add? Sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that one is called group discussions. And then we had the fire alarm, so maybe there was more, but.
There's that.
There's one that one of our instructors uses, it's Piazza, that I think it's a free LTI, and it's a good discussion. I haven't used it, I've seen what he's done with it, and he really likes it, so you might want to check out Piazza.
This is a good discussion about discussions. All right, anybody else? Anybody else?
Yes, we have one up front.
Okay.
It was just a comment. Instead of voting up tonight, apparently that you're allowed to talk to the engineers at the hack tonight. So bring it up. They said they're very, interested in what we hear.
That's a good idea. I know a lot of different groups are going to be there at Hack Night where you can go and chat them up.
Have a chat.
We've got one more.
All right, time for one more.
One of the things that was brought to our attention this summer, because we're just starting with Canvas and the pilot, is that the grading for them isn't contextual, so that you might get an answer on just this one particular student, but you don't know to what thread they were responding. So it makes it a more difficult than the platform they were used to using to grade, and I didn't know if anybody else experienced that.
You're referring to when you go to grade and you pull it up in the speed grader, it shows the 2 responses, but you don't know what they're replying to. Is that
correct?
Yeah. What I have done is through the week I go through, and I know it makes it difficult when you go to grade because maybe it might be later because you want to wait for them to respond. But I try to go through and interact with most of them, and then if I see them, I don't know, I kind of have a feel for where they were on that topic. I know that there is a view in full discussion button that will bring you into discussion, and I know that could be some jumping around, but that would be an excellent request for Canvas. I don't know how it could work differently, maybe show the whole post, but yes. What, when you go pull it up to grade it, it'll show the students, that one student's initial response or initial post, and then below it, 2 of their replies that were to other discussions. So when you're grading it and it's right there in that one view, you're unsure of what post they've. Yeah. Okay, we've got just our resource slides.
I think
You got something else? I'll pick that up.
I only got get some input.
Yep, it's at 4:45 now, just letting you know, doors are open, but.
He was just saying use 2 browser windows, which I think is a great tip
Yeah.
in general.
Using 2 browser windows both open. Yes. The PowerPoint?
Well, I'm not sure how Canvas is going
I
to.
don't know if Canvas is releasing them. I haven't posted it anywhere to release it.
Yeah, Canvas has it.
They have it though. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.